Alright, so here's my no CP build for Magicka Nightblade in Greymoor. The skill bar, as for my my typical build, has not changed at all. It's still the same. I would use Phantasmal Escape in the case of doing Battlegrounds, or not Battlegrounds, Battlegrounds, but more specifically Deathmatch, because there's more AoEs there, and for almost every other game mode it is very mobility based, so race against time is definitely what you want to use. But I mean, you can still use race against time in deathmatch if you want. It's just I feel like not getting dawn broke by like 5 people and then just dying instantly is kind of nice. You have to get another 6th person in there to die instantly. So yeah, honestly, not Soul Harvest, in-cap might be the better choice for Battlegrounds, not because of the stun or anything. I'm literally just saying this for the sustain. The sustain on in-cap is like mini Ellie Drain, but it applies to stamina and Magicka, so that's great. But it's not a huge deal because we're using one of my favorite sets of all time, Amber Plasm. So the only issue I have with Amber Plasm is that it's a bit of a lower damage setup. A lot of people in no CP are probably going to end up using heavy armor, so you have a couple choices for your damage set. I would say, based off of what I do, I would use War Maiden. Simply because I play a Dark Elf, and New Moon's Acolyte is not something I want to use when I'm barely getting by on sustain, because my sustain is so fine-tuned to the point where if I have a little bit less, I'm going to fucking fail, and if I have a little bit more, I am losing Magicka. So, at least on my other build. On this build, it's a little bit more wacky, but we're also in no CP, so everything is a little bit more wacky. Isn't it? There's another option instead of Balrog. I like Groftar. I really love Groftar. I have always loved Groftar. I don't know why, but Groftar has a special place in my heart. I'm not sexually attracted to Groftar. I promise. I just really like the set. Amber Plasm, great set. Now it gives you health recovery. Fucking health recovery. That's not great, but that's really nice. It's not amazing, but it's really, really nice. Amber Plasm also gives you, 1 line of max magic, 1 line of crit, 1 line of spell damage. That's just a nice setup. So yeah, we have that. Stamina recovery. Stamina recovery and no CP as a Magicka character. Oof, thank you. Thank God. I will take that. So yeah, if you're not using War Maiden or New Moon, I would definitely say use Spinners, actually. Because, people are going to be using heavy armor, and Spinners is heavy armor killer. Make sure you have a sharpened staff. I have sharpened even on War Maiden, so I'm just at this point I've accepted that sharpened is just pretty nice. Nerdhoned, sure, but I've at this point just decided I like sharpened. You can also use Slime Craw if you want. Not a huge fan of it. Don't use Troll King. You're not going to survive long enough for Troll King to save your ass. You could use Valken, sure. I mean, I don't like it that much. Zans, if you want to be a cheese blade, go for it. But if you want to use a proc set that doesn't seem super scummy and is still a lot of fun, then I highly suggest using Groftar. It's got a nice AoE. It's technically unblockable, but it might still be blockable. I don't know. They changed it a while back. It's undodgeable, and it'll bring people out of Cloak, which is something that Magicka Nightblade actually really struggles with. So yeah, that's nice. As for the glyphs and traits all in pen. For no CP. You can get away with a couple, like maybe 2 of them as well fitted. I don't think that's a terrible option, especially because no CP, you don't have the access to the dodge CP cost reduction, but whatever. I will say I'm kind of torn on using Arcane versus something like Infused or what's the word? Triune. There we go. So I do like Triune, actually. In my other video, you see that I use Triune in it primarily for all this, except for like one piece. So Triune's great, increases your max health, which is something that isn't as big in no CP. And since everyone's going to have more penetration this patch, then having a little bit of extra max health is not the worst thing compared to having more resistances. So same thing as I said in the last video too, regarding resistances. You could not use defending if you want to, but I still recommend it. Maximum stamina is pretty good. I'm using triglyphs, but I'm also a Dunmer, so take that into account. I'm using Witch Mother's Potent Brew. I could turn like one of these to recovery and then use something like Bewitched Sugar Skulls or just Blue Food, which would be a pretty nice damage increase. You know, I don't like having my max Magicka below 35k when I am outside, or when I have CP enabled. So I'm in my house, I have CP enabled. And if I go underneath this number, it is going to bother me. And that's why I would recommend Groftar, because it's good to have a good amount of Magicka and spell damage rather than just a lot of one or the other. At least for Magicka Nightblade, it's better to have a good amount of both. I mean, you definitely want more of one than the other. I recommend spell damage, but I feel like 34k is the dead-ass minimum. Don't go below 34k. And I personally am just uncomfortable if I'm below 35k. As for health, 19k while in CP enabled area is nice, you know. 20k is probably a good goal because just everyone has more max health nowadays. Unfortunately, back when I started PvP, everyone was running around with like 22k max health, and 25k was like some of the highest max health you would see unless you were wearing heavy armor and had the Emperor faction alignment bonus. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but nowadays almost everyone's running around with like 25k health, so kind of have to do that too, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that more or less covers it. If you're using Breton, use New Moon's Architect. Yeah, I don't even have to show you my CP, do I? Let's just have a look over here really quickly, though. Life Giver or Soul Tether. That choice is up to you. Do you want to rage at Zenimax for putting a cast time on a mostly defensive ability? If you want to do that, then by all means slot Soul Tether. I actually really love Soul Tether, but I hate that it has a cast time, and I have just given up on trying to like the skill. So I'm using Life Giver, and we're using Life Giver instead of Light's Champion because it casts a bunch of other stuff that just makes us live. You know, the life just pumps into you. It's great. As for, you know, your penetration in a non-CP area, because this is inflated by CP by like 2k, so I have like maybe, what, 8k penetration. That's okay. It's not great, and that's why I suggest using spinners, but I am using War Maiden just because I like it. So yeah, don't be afraid to do this. I said this in the other video. 8 health, 56 max Magicka. You know, I know a lot of people don't like doing this, but after a while, because max health is definitely the defensive meta nowadays, I have definitely just been like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Screw it, I'm gonna do it. Because we're using Amber Plasm, it is gonna enable you to dodge, to block more. I definitely recommend Healing Word, dodge, cloak. It's a very important thing to do. You could do Healing Word, this, dodge, cloak, or whatever you want to do. Maybe even throw in a Race Against Time in there. But you can now dodge to your heart's content. My food just ran out and I'm OCD about that. Now, if you don't want to use actual cloak and you want to use heal cloak, I said this in the other video, use Swift, especially for no CPBGs. Oh my god, use Swift. Swift is a really nice set to have in conjunction with Shadowy Disguise, because Shadowy Disguise gives you, or not the Shadowy Disguise, but Heal Cloak, it gives you that minor protection, and then on top of that, you also have that 10% damage mitigation that you get from Swift. So yeah, all in all, it's a nice combo, makes you super tanky, and less likely to die a horrible and painful death in the Battlegrounds. I've actually had a little bit of fun with Battlegrounds ever since they've reset the MMR, now that I'm not fighting a bunch of tryhards, who are, I mean, I'm also kind of a tryhard, but tryhard versus tryhard is just annoying when you're playing the worst class in the game. The only class that's probably worse than Magicka Nightblade right now is Magicka Necro, but as far as I'm concerned, Necro barely exists. So as far as I'm concerned, I always forget Warden exists. So yeah, putting that out there, as I said with the last video, you can choose to use Ellie Drain or Cripple. Ellie Drain will net you more damage. However, if you're in a BG, you're going to have other people with you, so maybe someone else is using Ellie Drain. Because you can't group and go into BGs. I know that might be harder to coordinate, but if you're just, you know, randomly coordinating, then by all means, put Cripple on. Cripple's a great skill. And it offers the same sustain that Ellie Drain does, except for the fact that Ellie Drain doesn't cost anything, and it lasts longer, so, I mean, there's kind of that, too. I have considered taking this off completely and putting, was it Mage Light here? I feel like that would be a nice way to deal with people who cloak too much, but I also feel like the damage just isn't there. So, that's my opinion on Magicka Nightblade in no CP. I do think you should use Essence of Spell Power, unless you have something else that you want to do. It's just, you carry less potions, it's nicer. Yeah, that just about covers all of it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I did it. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative, helpful, whatever. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Twitter. No one ever really does that, though. Discord, people actually message me on Discord. Or you can possibly read this on Dots' website. I'm not sure if this is going to have a page of its own. This is more of an offshoot build, but I might talk him into making a page for this build. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. Catch you guys later. Have a great day.